Welcome back. We've got a really fascinating career to unpack today, looking at someone who's truly navigated the whole landscape of modern American comedy.
Yeah, we're diving into Matthew Braunger, Matt Braunger, born back in August '74.
And professionally active since, what, 1997? That's quite a run already.
It really is. And what the sources make clear is it's not just about sticking around, it's about adapting. He's kept the stand-up going strong, which is incredibly hard work on its own.
Right.
But then he's also managed to build real footholds in film, TV, sketch, voiceover, even early podcasting. It's pretty remarkable.
So our mission for you today is to really pull apart how he did that. How do you build a career that's so, well, durable across all these different platforms?
Exactly. We want to look at that stand-up foundation, the specials, the albums. That's definitely the core.
But then connect it, right? Connect it to how he used sketch comedy skills, how that maybe opened doors for acting roles, and how voice work and podcasting fit into the whole picture.
It really is like a case study in managing a creative career long-term. And his commitment to stand-up, that's never wavered. His 2019 special, finally live in Portland.
Right, on Amazon Prime from Comedy Dynamics.
Yeah. That shows, even with all the other stuff going on, the cycle of writing, touring, recording stand-up, that's constant for him.
But then, yeah, you glance at the acting credits and it's just, whoa, the range is huge.
Totally. Being a cast member on MADtv, even for the final season, that's a major credential in sketch.
Definitely a proving ground.
And then look at the roles after that. Network sitcom like NBC's Up All Night.
Yeah, he was in that quite a bit.
Then something totally different like Marvel's Agent Carter, kind of that period sci-fi blend.
Such a tonal shift.
And even like the specific ensemble vibe of Disjointed on Netflix, he pops up everywhere.
And the voice work, you mentioned that too. That seems to be a really consistent thread.
Oh, absolutely. Our sources show that's often a key part of the puzzle for versatile performers. It's steady work, often less demanding schedule-wise than on-camera stuff.
Like the new VIPs on Amazon.
Right, and BoJack Horseman. Being on BoJack, that's significant. That show is huge, critically acclaimed. It just shows he's hitting every possible avenue, keeping himself visible, keeping different income streams flowing.
Okay, it's a massive resume. Let's dig into how this journey started because, like you said, this doesn't just happen. There must have been some key decisions early on.
Absolutely. And his early geography is actually pretty interesting.
How so?
Well, he was born in Chicago, a city with this incredibly rich history in improv and sketch.
Vatican City, all that.
Exactly. But he moved to Portland, Oregon pretty early on, graduated from Grant High School there. So he's got this Pacific Northwest grounding, too.
That Portland scene definitely has its own flavor. Kind of dry, observational.
It does. But here's a key decision point the sources highlight. For his formal training, he went way outside that region.
Where'd it go?
Headed east. Studied theater at Manhattanville College in Purchase, New York. Got his bachelor's degree there.
Theater, huh? Not just stand-up workshops.
Exactly. And I think that's crucial and maybe sometimes overlooked. That formal theater training, it's not just about writing jokes.
Right. It's about performance, character
Study, staging, using your voice, really acting. Those are skills that become incredibly valuable later when he starts taking on these diverse TV and film roles.
Okay, so he gets the theater degree on the East Coast. Then what?
Then another really strategic move, according to the sources. He moves back to Chicago after college.
Interesting. Not straight to New York or LA.
Nope. Back to Chicago, specifically, the sources say, to develop his comedy career. He chose that scene, known for its rigor, its focus on structure and ensemble work.
So it sounds like he was really intentional about building his foundation, blending the theater training with the Chicago comedy discipline.
Yeah, I think so. It set him up perfectly to make that jump to the national stage, which started happening pretty quickly on the festival circuit.
Right. Around 2007 seems like a key year based on the materials. Big festival appearances.
Huge. Just for laughs in Montreal, that's the big one.
The pinnacle, yeah.
The Las Vegas Comedy Festival, too. And he was consistently at South by Southwest, SXSW, which was becoming really influential then.
And these aren't just gigs, right? They're showcases. Industry people are watching.
Absolutely. Agents, managers, network scouts. Getting those slots is critical exposure. And it led directly to some recognition. He won Best of the Fest at that first rooftop comedy festival in Aspen.
Okay.
But maybe the thing that speaks most to his connection to his roots is what he did back in Portland.
The Bridgetown Comedy Festival. He co-founded that.
He did.
Yeah.
And you have to think about what that means. Co-founding a major annual festival, That's not just performing, that's building infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a massive undertaking. Entrepreneurial, really.
Totally. It takes organizational skills, deep connections in the comedy world, a lot of trust. By helping build Bridgetown, he wasn't just benefiting from the Portland scene, he was actively shaping it, making it a destination. That's a big deal.
And you can see how that, combined with the festival exposure, led to that big industry validation in 2009.
Yeah, that double hit, Variety's top 10 comics to watch.
And Comedy Central's Hot 9 in '09.
Yeah.
Getting nods from both the Industry Bible and the main comedy network at the time. That's powerful.
It really is. And that kind of validation is often the springboard you need to start translating all that stage time into recorded material, into specials and albums.
Okay, let's spend some real time on that stand-up output because the volume, like we said, is just, it's impressive.
Yeah.
3-hour specials, 6 comedy albums, all within about 11 years.
It's a serious work ethic. You don't produce that much polished material without relentless writing and touring.
Where does it start chronologically?
The first album listed in our sources is Soak Up the Night from 2009.
Okay, right after those hot list mentions.
Exactly. Released digitally through Comedy Central Records, and it got immediate notice. iTunes Rewind put it in their top 20 albums for 2009, so the material landed right away.
And releasing digitally via Comedy Central Records back then, that was pretty smart, right? Using the network brand, but hitting that growing digital audience.
Very savvy. It gave him legitimacy and reach simultaneously, and that success basically paved the way for his first full-hour special.
Which was Shovel Fighter.
Shovel Fighter, yeah, 2012. That was a big step up. It aired on Comedy Central, and they released the album at the same time.
So cementing him as a true headliner, someone who can carry an hour.
Absolutely. And Shovel Fighter, if you listen to it, really showcases his knack for longer stories, detailed observational bits. You can kind of hear that Chicago influence maybe in the structure.
Then fast forward a few years to 2015, and Big Dumb Animal. That one felt like another shift.
It was huge because the distribution changed. Comedy Dynamics handled it, but it landed on both Comedy Central and Netflix.
And Netflix in 2015. That was rocket fuel for comedians, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely transformative. Suddenly, your special isn't just reaching comedy fans who watch Comedy Central. It's potentially in front of millions globally, people who might never go to a comedy club.
Right. Massive exposure.
And the title, Big Dumb Animal, maybe hints at a slightly, more self-aware, maybe a bit wilder style. It connected, and again, releasing the album at the same time just maximizes the impact of that material.
Okay, so that's 2 specials down. The third hour comes 4 years later, 2019, finally live in Portland.
Yeah, streamed on Amazon Prime, which is fitting, like you said, filming it back in his high school town.
Brings it full circle almost.
It does. But notice the distributor shift again. Comedy Central, then Comedy Central Netflix, now Amazon Prime. He's consistently placing his work on the biggest platforms of the moment. He's following the audience and the budgets.
Smart business sense.
Yeah.
But the recording didn't stop there. He put out 2 more albums really quickly after that special.
Right, going way back also in 2019, and then Please Hold Me in 2020. And both of those came out on 800-pound Gorilla Records.
Okay, that's another interesting label shift. What does moving to 800-pound Gorilla signify, typically?
That's a really significant move in the modern comedy landscape. 800-pound Gorilla Records is known for being much more artist-focused, often offering better ownership deals, better royalty splits, really specializing in getting comedy albums out directly to fans.
So it suggests a move towards more independence, leveraging the audience he's already built.
Exactly. He's established enough by this point that he can partner with a label like that, maintain more control over his work, and connect directly with his listeners. It's a savvy play in today's market.
So across all this 6 albums, 3 specials, it's just this incredibly consistent library. And that success must have directly fueled his visibility on network TV, especially late night.
Oh, for sure. He became a regular face on the late night circuit, the Sources list appearances on Letterman.
A huge deal.
The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien, then Conan on TBS later, The Late Late Show.
Getting those spots repeatedly means the bookers trust you, your material works for that broad audience, you can hit your marks.
Absolutely. It confirms your status. And he wasn't just doing the main talk shows. He was also on those curated stand-up showcases.
Like John Oliver's New York stand-up show.
Right. And Live at Gotham on Comedy Central. Those shows signal credibility within the comedy community itself, not just with the general public.
Okay, so his stand-up profile is really high at this point. Let's pivot now, like you suggested, from stand-up where he's in total control to the more collaborative, sometimes chaotic world of sketch and scripted acting, starting with MADtv.
Right. He joins in 2008. He's listed as a feature performer, not a full repertory cast member.
And crucially, it's for the show's final season, season 14, which wrapped in 2009.
Exactly. And the sources note he only has about 12 appearances credited. So you've got two things working against making a huge immediate splash.
Yeah.
Being a feature player means fighting for screen time. And joining a show in its last, probably already kind of struggling season makes it even harder to establish, like, iconic characters or impressions.
Yeah, that's a tough situation to walk into. But he did manage to carve out some space.
He did. He had that recurring original character, Kerko, one of Kotan's 6 students.
Right, gives him something consistent to do.
But where you really see, perhaps, that theater training come into play is with the impressions. That's the classic calling card for sketch performers.
And he had some range there, didn't he?
He really did. He did contemporary people like Nick Jonas actually working with Eric Price and Johnny A. Sanchez as the other brothers, which is fun.
Ah, yeah.
Charlie Sheen, Jimmy Kimmel, William Shatner. Those are pretty standard targets, but require nailing the voice and mannerisms.
But he also did some more unexpected ones, pulling from different eras.
Exactly. And that's where it gets interesting. He did media figures like J.D. Power 2.
Wow, okay. Specific.
Al Michaels, Tom Bergeron, requires a good ear. But then the really deep cuts show his skill. William Frawley as Fred Mertz from I Love Lucy.
The Fred Mertz. That's not just mimicking a voice, that's embodying a whole 1950s sitcom character archetype.
Precisely. And Andy Griffith as Andy Taylor. Doing those successfully suggests a real understanding of performance history, of comedic timing from a different era. It's more than just mimicry.
Connects right back to that theater degree you mentioned. Character study.
I think so. It showed he wasn't just a stand-up trying sketch. He was an actor who could do impressions as part of a broader skill set. And that versatility, even in a short MADtv run, definitely helped pave the way for what came next in scripted television.
Okay, let's break down that TV acting filmography, because it is extensive and it really jumps around genres.
Yeah, he moves pretty seamlessly into recurring roles, which are gold for an actor's career stability.
The biggest early one seems to be Up All Night on NBC.
Right. He played Gene Martin for 19 episodes around 2011-2012. That's significant network exposure, working within a strong ensemble cast. Christina Applegate, Will Arnett, Maya Rudolph. It shows he can handle scripted comedy, hit his marks, be reliable.
And then, like you mentioned earlier, a total 180 with Marvel's Agent Carter.
5 episodes as Aloysius Samberly in 2016. Think about that shift from a contemporary network sitcom to a stylized 1940s set action drama with sci-fi elements.
Totally different demands as an actor.
Completely. Period costumes, specific character nuances fitting into that serialized plot. It shows casting directors saw him as more than just the funny guy. They saw a character actor.
He also had some other recurring gigs, smaller, but still consistent.
Yeah. The sources list 3 episodes as Bob on Take My Wife and 3 as Officer Mitch Maloof on My Dead Ex. Even these shorter arcs demonstrate value to producers. He can come in, establish a character quickly, and serve the story across different types of shows, including newer digital series formats.
And then there's the guest star work, which is just, it's all over the place, in a good way.
It really is. We mentioned the voice work, the new VIPs, BoJack Horseman. That requires pure vocal performance, creating character just with sound.
Which, again, probably draws on that theater training.
Very likely. And then the on-camera guest spots just show his incredible utility. He pops up on Happy Endings as Kevin.
Which had that super fast, witty dialogue style.
Exactly. Then he's Daryl on Blue Mountain State, which is a broader college comedy. Then Reggie on Man with a Plan, Ralph on Fuller House.
So he can handle the sharper single-cam banter and the more traditional multicam rhythms.
Precisely. He's like a valuable utility player in baseball. You can put him almost anywhere. Terry on Superstore, Brad on Upload.
Superstore's got that specific workplace satire vibe. Upload is dark comedy sci-fi.
Right. He can step into these established shows with very different tones and comedic engines, deliver what's needed for the scene, and make it work. He just fits. And we should also throw in his regular appearances on the Chelsea Lately Roundtable.
Oh yeah, that required a totally different skill set. Too quick, topical, unscripted jokes.
Shows that adaptability again. Stand-up, sketch, scripted acting, voiceover, roundtable wit. He can pivot.
And that ability to pivot, to have multiple skills and income streams, seems absolutely vital to the kind of longevity he's achieved. He's never just relying on one thing.
Exactly. Which speaks to another side of his career, the self-produced content, especially podcasting. He got into that pretty early.
Right. The sources mention MADT's Radio, a weekly comedy podcast he co-hosted with Matt Braunger.
And they wrapped that up way back in September 2010. Think about that time frame. 2010 is still the relatively early days of the big comedy podcasting boom.
Definitely ahead of the curve.
Being active then shows he was already thinking about direct audience connection, experimenting outside the traditional gatekeepers. Those early podcasts were often pretty raw, just comics riffing, building an audience from scratch.
And he built on that experience, moving into the more structured podcast network world later on.
Yeah, from 2013 to 2018, he hosted Ding Donger with Matt Braunger on the Nerdist podcast network.
Being part of Nerdist back then, that was huge.
Yeah.
Massive built-in audience, cross-promotion.
A really big platform during that peak podcasting explosion. But what's interesting is the evolution after that.
What's he doing now?
Now he's running Advice from a Dipshit with Matt Braunger, and it's independently produced with Amanda Rosenberg.
Ah, so you went from early indie to major network and now back to indie, but presumably with a much larger established audience.
Exactly. It's kind of the full circle. The network phase likely helped grow his listener base significantly. Now, being independent gives him total creative control, ownership of the show, and probably better ways to monetize directly through things like Patreon or merch if he chooses. It's the modern playbook for established creators.
That drive to create his own thing wasn't just in audio, though. He took a shot at creating his own TV show, too, right?
He did. Back in 2012, he created and starred in a pilot for Comedy Central, simply titled Braunger.
And he had a serious writing partner on that one.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with Brent Forrester, The Office, King of the Hill, The Simpsons, a major respected TV comedy writer.
Okay, so you've got a proven stand-up star, a pilot on the biggest comedy network, and an A-list writer. Sounds like a slam dunk.
You'd think so. But here's the crucial detail the sources emphasize. The pilot was not picked up to series. And that's a really important data point. It tells you just how incredible. I think it reinforces that he's game for anything funny, He's not precious about sticking to one type of comedy or platform. He's willing to jump into these niche, high-energy projects, cross media boundaries, and connect with different subcultures. It shows he's an actor using comedy, not just a stand-up who acts sometimes.
Which brings us maybe to the ultimate testament of his place in the comedy world.
Yeah.
His status as seemingly everyone's favorite podcast guest.
Oh, absolutely. The list of podcasts he's appeared on is just staggering. It's like a roadmap of the entire comedy podcast universe over the last 15 years.
You look at the shows listed.
Yeah.
Never Not Funny with Jimmy Pardo. Comedy, bang, bang. Those are benchmarks for improv skills and quick wit.
Right. Then you've got the absolute behemoths, shows with massive diverse audiences, like the Joe Rogan Experience.
And he's also a regular on the ones that get more personal, more into the craft, like the Nerdist podcast back in the day, or You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes.
Yeah, those require a certain honesty and vulnerability. Plus, he stays current, appearing on the big shows of the current era. The Bertcast with Bert Kreischer, all fantasy everything, which is all about quick comedic arguments.
Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and Christina Pazitsky.
Bullseye with Jesse Thorne, Ryan Sickler's The Honeydew. Being invited onto that sheer variety of shows tells you something.
What does it tell you?
It tells you that other comedians respect him, they find him genuinely funny and interesting to talk to, and that he can adapt his conversational style to fit basically any format, whether it's rapid-fire jokes or long-form reflective conversation. He's just a great hang, professionally speaking.
He really does seem like a comedy chameleon. Okay, so let's try and pull all these threads together now. Looking back over this, 25-plus year career, what's the main narrative that emerges from synthesizing all these sources?
I think the core takeaway is this blend of dedicated consistency and really smart adaptation. He is, first and foremost, a working stand-up comedian. That output, the specials, the albums, that's the constant engine driving everything.
Right, the foundation.
But the key to the breadth of his career seems to be how effectively he leveraged his other skills. That theater training, the intense sketch experience on MADtv, he used those to build credibility as an actor.
Which then opened doors to that incredible range of TV roles we talked about. Network sitcoms like Up All Night, prestige cable like Agent Carter, essential streaming voice work like BoJack. He covered all the bases.
And underpinning it all, arguably, is that early decision to get formal theater training at Manhattanville. It gave him a performance toolkit that went way beyond just stand-up chops. He could do character work, he could handle different genres, he could fit into ensembles.
So he really provides a kind of blueprint for how to build a lasting career in modern comedy, doesn't he?
I think so. It shows you need that continuous self-production, keep putting out specials, keep putting out albums, maybe adapt with things like independent podcasting.
But you also have to be proactively seeking out diverse roles, adapting to how the TV and film landscape keeps changing, moving between network, cable, streaming.
And being willing to adapt the business model too, like shifting distributors for specials or moving to independent podcasting. That constant adjustment seems crucial to staying relevant since '97.
Okay, so this brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to maybe chew on after hearing all this.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about his journey, Chicago, New York for college, building his career nationally, but we also highlighted that deep, ongoing connection to Portland, Oregon.
Right, where he went to high school, where he came back and co-founded the Bridgetown Comedy Festival, really invested in that scene.
So here's the question to consider. How much has that sustained connection to and influence within the specific Portland comedy scene actually shaped the flavor of his own stand-up? When you listen to his specials, especially one literally titled Finally Live in Portland, can you detect a particular tone, a certain kind of observational detail, maybe that dry Pacific Northwest edge, that reflects his deep roots and role in that specific regional comedy culture?
Is his comedy distinctly Portland in some way, even as he achieved national success? Does being an institution builder there bleed into the material itself?
It's an interesting angle, right? That interplay between national visibility and deep regional identity. Something to definitely think about as you check out his work.
A great final thought. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the sources surrounding the really rich and multifaceted career of Matt Braunger.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Thanks for joining us as we went through it all. We hope it gave you a real sense of the strategic thinking and sheer hard work that goes into building a career like his.
Definitely. And if you want to explore further, we absolutely recommend checking out those key specials and albums we discussed. Shovel Fighter, Big Dumb Animal, Finally Live in Portland. Listen for those different threads we talked about.
Pay attention to the writing, the performance style, how it evolves, or check out his current podcast, Advice from a Dipshit with Matt Braunger, to hear where his comedic voice is right now.
Lots to dig into. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.